Hi, you're writing a research paper, so let's talk about how to find research, credible sources. I want to focus on the library database, but I have to be honest with you. I use Google all the time. Google can be really useful. Um, I can ask it a question, it's super intuitive, so I can seriously ask it a question. Search terms are easy. Um, there are some problems with Google, though. There are so many options. Not all the options are relevant, and they aren't all credible. Sometimes sources, they just want to get a lot of hits, so it's sort of like clickbait. Sometimes they are written by people who are incredibly biased, and they're more interested in making money through the clickbait or for pushing through their own agenda, and they aren't really out for truth. Sometimes they're just not credible. There's no evidence. Again, it's just not working. Still, let's take a look at Google. And I want to enter a phrase that I think some of you are researching. And the phrase is food insecurity. And you'll see that I have all kinds of options below: food insecurity in San Diego, in America, in 2021, in college students. But I'm just going to go with food insecurity. And you'll see that I have 23,500,000 sources. Yeah, that's a lot. Still, it can be useful. I've got some information over in the right-hand side. Here's some organizations, so I could look at those. This is an ad. Clearly, these people want me to go there. Why? So I'll donate. That doesn't make this a bad organization. In fact, I know nothing about this organization. It might be completely legit. It seems to be focused to some place in Pennsylvania. And so they've got some statistics about Pennsylvania. And I like the layout of it. It looks credible. But until I actually look up this organization, Google this organization and find out, oh, it's North Carolina, not Pennsylvania. All those states back east, a lot of them look the same. Okay, so let's go back. And here's Red Nose Day, another organization, healthypeople.gov. Well, this is a government website. And so it's a little more credible, a lot more credible. All of these statistics have been gathered with government researchers. Super credible, super great for getting statistics. There's not a lot of story in here. There aren't a lot of concrete examples. And so this might be useful, but this isn't going to help me write the kind of essay I want with lots of story in it, lots of concrete examples. So I could use this, but I still am going to need to find some other things. Feeding America, I know that organization. It's very good. Here's another government website. And here's some articles from newspapers and magazines about people who are struggling. This article looks like it's going to be good. This is from NPR, which I know quite a bit about. It's a radio station and a television station, and they are very, very credible and very, very balanced. Another thing that I very much like, if you'll notice, this is from the time during COVID, 2020. There are lots of hyperlinks. And so I can click on any of these hyperlinks and get some good data. I can get taken to the US Department of Agriculture, and I can get even more statistics. If statistics are what I want, those hyperlinks are going to help me. If story is what I want, the NPR article is going to help me. Lots of good information in this article. And I found it on Google. So it can definitely be helpful. What about Wikipedia? Well, first of all, it's not great for use in an essay. I don't want you to use any encyclopedia articles in this essay. However, Wikipedia is really great for understanding terms, for helping me understand issues related to my topic, issues that I didn't even know were related to my topic. It's great for finding new sources. Let me click on Wikipedia really quickly. See all these hyperlinks? They're going to take me to other sources, which means that I can find out lots and lots of things. There's always a table of contents, so I can narrow it down, so I can find out about food insecurity in Afghanistan, China, Mexico, the United States. I can find out, like, what are the pillars of food insecurity? What are the details? What are the effects? How is it related to the global water crisis, climate change? Really, or even fossil fuel dependence. Really, really helpful. I want to show you at the bottom. This is a very long article. Everything on Wikipedia has to be sourced. And so I can access all kinds of articles that the collaborators for Wikipedia have used to develop the ideas. And so actually pretty useful. Let me take a look at one other idea. So I want to look up insects as food. And again, oh, look, street food in Germany. We can eat that. Insects, we can buy it in Germany. Which insects do they use? Nutritional profiles. How is it? How do we gather it? They're actually raised as livestock. I did not know this. I am finding all kinds of things as I'm looking through Wikipedia. But I cannot use this article. What I can use is the hyperlinks. And I can go down to the bottom and see, what other sources are available. How do I know if a source is credible? I want to think about things like who wrote it. Amy Choi is a journalist. She is not an authority to speak on food. That's why she quotes so many authorities on food in her article. She wants to make it credible. And so when I'm looking at a source, I'm not looking just at, is the author an authority, although it's great if an author is. I'm looking at, where was this published? This was published by TED Talks, and they are known for finding credible people who are authorities to speak on things. I will also want to look at, is this source more interested in making money, like clickbait, or providing and supporting a bias than discovering truth? So I have to find out about the organization. I also want to think about when it was published. It does me no good to understand food insecurity right now if I'm looking at sources from 1982. The other thing that I have to look at when I'm examining a source is what kinds of details and evidence is the author using. Remember Amy Choi, not an authority on food, but she used lots of authorities on food in order to do this research. And so I have to be looking at, who is Jennifer 8 Lee? Who is Chef Dan Barber? Who are all these people? All of asking questions will help me make sure my sources are credible. If I want to narrow down my choices and find credible sources, I can use the library database for Southwestern College. Here are a few tricks and tips for using it. And just in a minute, we will go to the library database and I'll show you some things that I was able to discover. So the library database at Southwestern College is actually a collection of databases. Some are great for finding newspapers, some are great for finding academic sources, some are great for finding encyclopedias. Remember, no encyclopedias are allowed in your research paper. So choose the database that works for you, for your purposes. Choose your search terms carefully. The library database requires that you spell things correctly. It doesn't operate like Google does, where you can ask it a question. No, you're using terms and you're combining terms to narrow your choices. It has some really cool features, like I can adjust the date range, so I only find things that are recent. If I'm looking at an issue today, I can choose the types of sources I want, and it will give me suggestions on new search terms or ideas. So let's go to the library database. Here I am on our school website, and when I click on student support, I can choose the library, and it will take me right here. From there, I want to choose I really don't know. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Let me click on library. Sorry, I got lost. And now I want to choose research. By the way, on this site, you can actually ask a librarian for help. And but let's click on off-campus access. And because I do have to log in, I am currently logged in, so you won't be seeing me do that. And I'm going from the login, I'm going to choose articles and databases. So you can see how I got here from student support to library to research to articles and databases. Let me just scroll down. These are all the different topics. General topics, nice starting place. News, these will take you straight to newspapers. Health, arts, histories, humanities, science, business, education, all good stuff. I'm going to stay away from the encyclopedias. I like Academic Search Complete, and I'm going to click here. This is EBSCO. It's a little slow, and so I always have to remind myself to be patient. It loaded pretty quickly this time. Let me enter our phrase, food insecurity. And you'll notice that I'm using quotation marks around this phrase because I don't want it to look for food and insecurity as two different terms. I want to look for this phrase. And so I can use quotation marks so it looks it up as a phrase. It's also going to give me a lot of, oops, that went away, food insecurity, a lot of different options in the United States, food insufficiency or hunger or food disparity, that's a lot of options, college students, children. I'm going to choose in the United States. Just going to click search. I have 1,429 sources. That is a lot, but it's not the 253 million that we started with on Google. I can narrow that if I come over here on the left. First, I'm going to narrow it to full text. There really is absolutely no point in me finding an article that isn't going to give me the full text. Now it's updating. Remember, patience, patience, patience. Okay, sorry, I am reminding myself. It starts from 1976, and I don't want 1976. Let's go to 2018. I think that would be useful. Now we're down to 452, and that's pretty good. I'm looking at this. This probably doesn't fit my purposes because I'm looking at food insecurity and hunger in the United States. Here's breastfeeding behaviors. Here's college students. that might be interesting. You are a college student, and so that's interesting. Here's one related to eating disorders. Here's attitudes about food insecurity. Sometimes in the United States, we think that if people would just work hard enough, then they wouldn't be hungry. Let me go ahead and click on this one because I think that that's interesting. This is an academic article and from an academic text. I can look at the abstract, and the abstract is sort of a summary of this. And it says 12.3% of households face food insecurity, which is the economic and social condition of limited or uncertain access to adequate food. And this seems like it's related to the claims in The New Face of Hunger. You'll notice that I also get a lot of new terms, search terms: hunger, poverty, factor analysis, surveys, and these other word that we saw on Google, food security. Let me show you a really awesome trick. If I click over on the right-hand side, by the way, I can add it to a folder if I'm logged in. I can email this to myself. I can save it. I can also click on a citation. Now, I can see a lot of different formats. You want to make sure that you are choosing MLA. Google does not offer me this option, and so I can just copy this and paste it on a document. Incidentally, whenever I'm looking at sources, I collect that citation and put it on a document immediately because I don't want to lose the information I have. And then I can start reading it. This actually looks super interesting. I can listen to it. Again, Google doesn't give me that option. Academic articles are a little longer and they have lots and lots of citations in them. They're very credible, and so they can be useful, and I can find some great information. However, I might choose to limit my sources. Oops, 2018 full text. I can limit it to magazines and newspapers if I want shorter articles. Remember, I don't want too short because I actually need the article to have some details, to have some evidence. And so now I have 56 sources, and I have some interesting things. I have some information about from March 2020, before COVID hit, about the rate of food insecurity. Here's something about communal meals, helping people overcome. This is March 15, so this is during COVID. Here's fighting food insecurity on college campuses. Here's an interesting article on why do people starve from MIT Technology. And that seems interesting to me. So again, I can listen to it and read along, which can be helpful for me. And I can see there's lots of information. There's lots of evidence in this. If I'm looking at causes of food insecurity, it looks like this article could be super, super helpful for me. Let's try a new search. And I want insects as human food. Waiting, waiting, waiting. All is good. It's all going to be here in just a moment. I've got 226 articles. And the wisdom of eating insects as animal feed. Um, I have decided that I actually want magazines and newspapers. There's a lot of words I don't know, and I think that would be lovely. Whoa, and it looks really good. The long fight for a just food system, that seems super interesting. Global benefits, this seems really short. I don't know how much information there will be. Where have all the insects gone? Wow, this sounds really interesting. Um, what happened? This does not seem as useful as I thought it would. Let me just go as food. Once again, I'm going to limit it to magazines and newspapers and foods of the future. This is from Scholastic Scope. Grubs Up from Geographical Magazine. Whoa, this seems really exciting. Again, I can listen. It's an emerging market. Why eat bugs? Seems like it would fit really well if I were going to do that. And there you have it. It's been a little while. There's lots to learn. You'll see it's not a straightforward process. It's just kind of playing with things, trying new things, trying new search terms, and being patient. And that's all I've got. Have fun researching. Remember to ask me if you have questions. I'm happy to help you along.